Hi, welcome to part 2 of quick shifter installation on my 2011 Hayabusa. Had a few issues over the last week. Probably the biggest issue I've had is dealing with Serco, the supplier of the equipment. They're the Australian supplier of the Dynojet Power Commander and quick shifter module. Turns out they don't know what they're talking about. Not only did they send the complete kit last week, so they told Peter Stevens here, and they forgot to include the little quick shifter button, which is the thing that's needed to make your quick shift or have your quick shift work. But once I got the quick shift a couple of days later from Peter Stevens, looked at the instructions, and the instructions said wire quick shifter, which is what they're calling this thing, as opposed to the quick shifter module, which I've put up here. So they've said wired quick shifter directly into Power Commander. Now, if you recall from the last video, the quick shifter module wires into Power Commander with a blue and green wire. They wanted me to wire this into Power Commander in this exactly the same place. Problem I have is I couldn't justify buying a quick shifter module if this thing was going to do what the module does. So I ring up Serco saying, hey guys, I've got this thing, you guys sent the complete kit minus this last week, now I have this, your instructions tell me to wire this in the Power Commander. First guy I spoke to said, yep, that's correct, you wire it in the Power Commander, and I couldn't get through to him that I needed this to go into the module, because there was a plug in the module, as you noticed from last week, had a plug come out here. He couldn't work out. I'm asking him whether I need to cut this, because there's no plug on the end of this. There's only bare wires. Sorry, there's two plugs, a green and a blue and an orange and a different colour, but there's four wires effectively, two plugs, and he couldn't work out what I'm asking him. So I finally spoke to a guy called Mark, and Mark says, yep, nope, he said the module, the quick shifter module that goes into my top injectors, which I spoke to last week, the module cuts out the top injectors, the Power Commander cuts out bottom injectors. This goes in the module. Yes, do need to cut the plug to wire this into where the plug was. This talks to the module talks to the Power Commander, they all cut at the same time. So I quickly dodged it up the other day, and it all seems to work fine. So I've now since ordered or bought a plug, so I've plugged. Now if you've got a standard quick shift, a standard shift like me, up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 1. Plug blue green into blue green. If you this is a universal shifter apparently. It pushes and it pulls, and so it's a micro switch where it'll detonate, or it'll recognise in the module a push, or it'll recognise a pull. And all you have to do is plug in. If it's a pull, plug in the orange one. If it's a push, plug in the blue green, which I have here, and I've tucked it all away, so I didn't want to waste your time that you saw last week. So the other problem I had, they sent me one of these which goes in here. Now this one, it's got three little grooves on it, 1, 2, 3 grooves, and if I was to plug that in there and there, that's going to be way too long, and my shifter's going to be way down here to the billio. So when I spoke to Serco, Mark from Serco, who tells me I've got the right one, because I rang him up again and said, hey look, I think you guys sent me the wrong shifter, or the wrong push rod. He tells me that no, they send universal push rods, and he tells me, Mark's words were, these three notches here, they indicate 10 mil spacings, or 1 centimetre spacings. He said all I have to do is cut one of them off. He said it's all hollow in there, and I couldn't for the hell of me fathom how the hell that was going to work. So I bought myself a Dremel, started to cut through here, and this is the result. Started to cut through, and I've got 3/4 of the way through, and thought, nah, this guy's off his tree. It is not going to be hollow, and if it is, how the hell am I going to join, and how the hell is it going to get shorter anyway? So after 3/4 of the way cutting through this one, I decided this guy is an idiot. Rang him up the next day to convince him that what he told me was not correct. Why would he mention these three grooves if you didn't have to worry about the grooves? So all I did with this one, just to see if it was going to work, was cut the thread off that I needed. So I got my original arm, my original rod, deducted, well, plugged my original rod, no sorry, plugged this into there, deducted about 50 millimeters off the whole thing, off my rod, which will allow for this to screw into there, and that seemed to work. I also had to take that little bolt out there, move this round one tooth to bring that more upright, to bring my peg, or bring my lever up to a acceptable height. It was too low before, so now I can adjust it to a good height for my foot. So I'm going to go ahead now. I had to buy a new one. Serco or Mark from Serco rather, he was not prepared to accept responsibility for telling me to cut these grooves back. I don't even know why he mentioned the grooves. All he should have said was measure your rod, cut them back at each end of the rod, make sure you've got enough play to screw in this end, and to screw in my little swivel here. So that's what I'm going to do now. I know this one's pretty close to being the length I need. I'm going to make this end just a touch shorter. But yeah, if you do deal with Serco, don't talk to Mark, because he has no idea what he's talking about. Not only do they send me what they tell me was the correct kit, missing the micro switch or missing the actual quick shifter switch itself, he also tells me to cut these grooves, which is cutting a solid, and he even told me it was hollow, so his credibility to me has gone right out the window. I'll never deal with Serco again. Peter Stevens were actually quite good about it. They apologised profusely for me dealing with idiots over the phone, but that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to cut this one back. I'm going to screw it into there. I've tucked all my wires up again all through here. Plus the other thing that I don't like about this shifter here, this little quick shifter button here, the wire goes that way, so I've got to loop my wire back. I don't know why, there's no provision to have this on the other side so the wire travels out. I've got to loop it back this way. This is a right hand thread, in here is a left hand thread. I don't know why they wouldn't have the wire there, or why they wouldn't have it so it was more universal than what it actually is. This is suited to something. It's certainly not a Hayabusa. You spend 1100 Australian dollars to get the whole kit, and I feel like I'm dealing with shit that I need now to modify or have it look substandard. It's a little bit annoying. I think Serco needs to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. I have no doubt that the other model of this would probably be beneficial, because the wire would go the least the correct way. They should have these rods at least. They should have a few of these rods, not just one rod that you have to modify yourself. It's not hard to have. I don't think there'll be that many bikes with that many different push rods around. Anyway, I'm going to get all this back together. I'm going to cut my threads back so it's similar to length to this one. I'm going to put it all together, and then we'll take it for a test drive. Sorry for my rambles, but I don't like dealing with idiots, and I don't like having to do things twice. Some people may say, yeah, well, it's just common sense. Yeah, it is common sense to just cut the ends off, but if someone tells you that these grooves need to be cut, you know, these guys are supposed to be professionals, these guys are supposed to know what they're talking about, these guys are supposed to help. The only thing that he did tell me at the end of the day was, Serco do not deal with the public, and that's probably why, because the public, in this case, probably know better than what they do. They've never installed one themselves. They have to deal with dealers who install them for them, and they have no idea. Even on their website, even on the Serco website, there is no way that they tell you how to do this. The instructions say, cut back your original rod, or use the one supplied, or use the one indicated for your bike. You can't use the one indicated because you've got to cut it back anyway. So, Dynojet Serco in Australia, ba-bow, big thumbs down to you guys. Anyway, I'm going to get this thing sorted, and then get back to you. Okay, here's the end result. Shifter's about nice height for me, for my big fat foot. I didn't use the bolt on the back end because I wanted to get that as tight as possible. Got a bolt here to snug it up, so had to obviously loop this around. Didn't want too much of a kink in it. Put a quick zip tie on there. I'm zip tied underneath my tank, so all the wires are nice and neat out of the way. I have not taken it for a drive yet, or a ride yet. but I'm confident that's going to work well. I've got my module set for 3000 RPM, so it will not shift until 3000 or until 3000 RPM has been reached. I'm led to believe I can modify that, but I think 3000 is good. You don't want to bog it down under 3000 anyway with the change. But that's what it looks like now. Everything's all nice and neat and tidy. Everything still works as per usual. Tank's back on. Everything but my GPS is back on. All set for a cruise. Looking forward to the weather to fine up. We're heading a top temperature of 9 degrees Celsius here today. With rain, of course. I'm looking for a good day to go and take that for a test ride. Okay, everything's sorted. Again, if you've got any questions or comments, let me know. I've actually learned a fair bit about this in the process in the last week by mucking about, fucking about, getting things wrong. But yeah, it's been a learning process. It's unfortunate that they send something like this with a instruction booklet that does not suit this bike, and then just try and fob it off to say, well, it's a universal thing. We can't send instructions for every bike on the market. Well, I think they can. It's a bit of paper, it's a PDF file they could send. They know what sort of bike I have. I rang them up, they spoke to Peter Stevens. They know I have a Hayabusa. It's not the only Hayabusa on the planet. So I think they need to pull their finger out and start doing some old school bloody customer service instead of fobbing it off and making universal shit that you got to modify in the first place. Anyway, I'll let you know how it rides. I'm going to see if I can attach a camera down here somewhere so I can give you an idea on what it does. Cheers.